Okay, guys, can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, just get started. Um, all right, hello everyone. Yeah, it's good to be back. Welcome to welcome to the OpenGuild community. And then it's already been a while like, since I got come back and then I do the community call. And like I had a very great community like PPA experience during like the last month. So now, like today, we're gonna talk a bit about Polkadot SDK, and like in today, like community call, I'm gonna share my latest knowledge about like Polkadot SDK and everything that I know about this technology at this stage. So like there has been like a lot of things change during the past few months. Like for example, like you already know about like Polkadot 2.0, which like announced like to like a few breaking change features in the Polkadot ecosystem. And for Polkadot SDK as well, like we have like a better documentation, better ecosystem that you're gonna support like new developer to come into the community, into the ecosystem. So yeah, I think we just get started. So first, for everyone who doesn't know, like so this community call is hosted by OpenGuild, and I'm one of the core member of the OpenGuild. So what's OpenGuild? OpenGuild is the representative of Polkadot in the Southeast Asia region, and OpenGuild is a Web3 hub for like Polkadot enthusiasts and also the Web3 builders in the Southeast Asia region. And joining OpenGuild, you're gonna have the opportunity, to participate in many events and research and development. So I think like in the past few months, we already like, hosted a few. I think like up to now we got like more than 15 community call and also like a few biggest event like GM Vietnam recently. If you guys like doesn't know about it, so just visit our Twitter, give it a follow, and then like follow keep up to date with our latest update. So a little bit about me. So I'm a blockchain Polkadot Academy Wave 5 graduate, and I'm also a Polkadot SDK contributor and the OpenGuild DevRel lead. On the other hand, like I claim myself as a reflection. So my name is Tin Chum, and nice to. Okay, so what have we done like during the past few months? So like I think it's a bit deprecated, but also it's also like demonstrate most of the thing that we did, and I'm quite proud of it. So like in the past few months, like, we already create like, a few tutorial, for example, like Rust tutorial or substrate KDs. We make it to up to date. On the other hand, we also like hosted a few like more than 15 community calls, varies on different topic in the Polkadot ecosystem. And we also have offline event. And if you don't know, a sneak peek that like in the next week we're gonna have a new offline event about the substrate kitty. This one is quite it is a bit technical, and it's gonna dive deeper into like how substrate work and also like how you can build an NFT blockchain with substrate. So stay tuned and just keep updated to the announcement of OpenGuild on social media and also like on our Discord channel. And anyway, like the workshop will be in Ho Chi Minh City, Saigon, Vietnam. So yeah. All right, so just flexing back a bit on like our on the BBA cohort I just joined, and then like I think like in the past month I already um try to bring like OpenGuild to the international to my international friend, and I think that they really like it. And like I also like met Gavin Wood, and that's a great experience. And I love his vision and also like his talk about new latest technology that we're gonna give a talk sooner or later. So I think like for example like I experienced the lecture about jam, which we already like if the Open Guild community already have a talk with Kian from Parody about like jam before. So if you haven't watched it, just revisit and watch that video. I think that's a very cool talk. All right. So now let's go directly into like what we're gonna talk about today. So what we're going to talk about. So the overview of the Polkadot technology, a deep dive into the Polkadot SDK architecture. So for example, the substrate, frame, cumulus, which is like the three core component of the of the Polkadot SDK, and we talk a bit like Polkadot SDK in runtimes and how you can contribute to Polkadot SDK as the open source contributor. Okay, so let's recap a bit on what we know about Substrate. I think like um prior to this like before this community call, like we already like give maybe like 2 or 3 workshop and also like about the introduction to Substrate. And that's a very detailed community call. So I don't want to dive deep into Substrate too much on in this community call, but we're gonna recap a bit. So Substrate is a core component of Polkadot SDK, but not only because we also have a few other components in this Polkadot SDK. Substrate is powerful as a blockchain builder tool that abstract away the complexity of subcomponent in the blockchain system. Substrate is written completely in Rust, so 90% of the Substrate source code is written in Rust. And Substrate is a blockchain agnostic framework. So you can use Substrate to build a solo chain. For example, like some blockchain out there already try it. For example, Alab Zero or Pig Network. And on the other hand, like Polkadot Engineer use Substrate to build a parachange and relay change. So in summary, so Substrate is a blockchain builder tool and it's a framework like React. For example, you use React for front-end development. So for blockchain development, you're gonna use Substrate. And I think like that's one of the best tool out there, like standing along with like Upstack kind of things. Because but Upstack is only on the layer 2 of Ethereum, but Substrate is more like general, and then it doesn't have to be like network agnostic, like have to be like dependent on any kind of network. Like outside of Polkadot, you can also like use Substrate to build your own blockchain. So if this is the first time you hear about Substrate, so please take a look at the resources. And I already have the resources right here. So if you interested, you can visit it. I don't know how can I send these, but we're gonna have a slide sent to you guys later. So I'm gonna copy and then send resources. All right. So I think like all these resources already quite informative and comprehensive, and I spend a lot of time to select the best resources for like like beginners can learn about Substrate and Polkadot SDK. So if you have time, just visit those material. And okay, so what is Polkadot SDK? So Polkadot SDK repository provides all the component needed to start building on the Polkadot network, a multi-chain blockchain uh, platform that enables different blockchain to interoperate and share information in a secure and scalable way. So we already learned like a few minutes ago that a Substrate can be used to develop any kind of like blockchain network, but and Polkadot also use Substrate, but like to develop like a blockchain, like a sub blockchain, or we can also like call it an app change on Polkadot that use all the feature of the protocol of the Polkadot protocol. You also like need Substrate and you need a few other tools in the Polkadot SDK. And we also have a few resources for the Polkadot SDK right here, but I will only design it after the end of this presentation. Okay, so we're gonna talk a bit about what is Polkadot. So Polkadot, there's a slide on Polkadot Blockchain Academy that I really like, which is like the game console analogy. So if you see right here, the subtree is you can imagine like basic subtree client is like a game console, and our parachange, or I can say like right now we don't have the concept of parachange yet, but just think that it's a blockchain of the whole Polkadot protocol. So this parachange or the app change, um, we can imagine it as the catches of the catches of the game console, and the Polkadot protocol is the runtime, is the whole runtime of for all these kind of catches. So for this, to be plug and play, for example, like Moonbeam, if like Moonbeam to operate on this kind of game console, Astar, they're gonna plug in into like that. You're gonna have like the Polkadot as a runtime, and all these kind of parachanges, link to it, and then like use all kind of feature of the board protocol. Okay, so we're gonna talk a bit about the benefit of Polkadot parachange, or say like why you want to become the app change on the Polkadot of the Polkadot network. So first, share security. Also, I have very detailed slide that to explain a bit about the security here. But just imagine that instead of having to build a whole validator network with complex consensus mechanism for security, so Parachain only need a few nodes for block collection, and the rest will be handled by the relation. What does this mean? So, for example, like on Ethereum, if you want to build any kind of solution like a Keeper network or the Oracle network, or like a bridge, then it doesn't use the consent like like the Ethereum protocol doesn't have any idea to share the security with these kinds of like software. For example, the bridge like cannot reuse the validator network of Ethereum. The validator network of Ethereum to proof of stake only secure only secure anything built on top of Ethereum. Anything that built up change and outside Ethereum cannot be secured by this validator. So sales security is one of the key feature of Polkadot, because like anything that built inside Polkadot protocol gonna be can you reuse the security of the whole network. Another thing is cross-chain messaging. So I think like you might familiar with bridging. So bridging solution, for example, like wormhole between like in the Solana ecosystem, or what else? Can anyone like give me a name? But I don't remember. So like cross-chain messaging is always something like people want to do that, because like you have too many blockchain network out there. For example, like Solana, Ethereum, Ethereum, Near, and then like you want that okay, so Near blockchain can exchange something. We can transfer a token from Near blockchain directly to the Solana network, or the Solana network can transfer the token directly to Ethereum, instead of having to go to another which is the decentralized chain like Binance. So for example, like right now, like if you have to go to Binance, and then like you exchange your Solana token to Near, and then like from Near you're gonna go to like peer-to-peer peer-to-peer um peer-to-peer trading to get the token back to your Near blockchain, and it's quite less secure, and you have to give a trust to the trader, so to the merchant. So in that way, cross-chain messaging is already a native thing in the Polkadot protocol, and we can also explore that later. Another thing is substrate compatibility, which ecosystem of library. So um, because like all the parachains plug and play in the Polkadot protocol, use substrate as their framework to be a blockchain. So in that way, they have a whole ecosystem of library which already built by, for example, like blockchain A already build a set of library for it, but it can also share it to other blockchains to reuse. For example, in React, so like in React, like you have components like a a user interface component that you already built, and then you build and you just publish a library. So then in that way, like all the people who build the app with React, they can install your library and then just plug and play. That is what exactly the same for Polkadot substrate. Okay, so now we want to learn a bit about why is native sales security is important. So sales security is required for the scalability of the blockchain protocol. So if you don't know, so like in blockchain we have a trilemma, which is like decentralization, security, and scalability, and whatever like any two other aspect that you try to focus on, to make an advantage of, then the other aspect gonna be like gonna be less effective.
Oh,
So in that way, like trilemma is quite important for a blockchain network, and right now like nearly there's zero blockchain protocol that can reach the trilemma, that can have be powerful in both in all kind of aspect like security, decentralization, and scalability. So in that way, like when the Polkadot Foundation, or can say like yeah, when the Polkadot Foundation they decide to come up with like a design for the protocol, they already like make a decision like okay, so native share security will be will be the primary key feature of the whole protocol. And by that way, like they already have a native share security. So like to scale up the network, they only have to, like focus on the scalability instead of like they try to scale first and then they think about the security later. So scalability of the layer one protocol requires sharding on different layers of the network. Um, for example, in Ethereum right now, like to scale Ethereum up, you're gonna need like you're gonna need like sharded network. You need like sharding solution, like um, uh, like optimism, like the roll up, or we call it a roll up, like optimisms or like ZK roll up. And for this roll up solution to work, then you need another middle layer for the settlement thing, and then like it's quite centralized because like you only have like a few like sequencer node that use to handle like the batch transactions between the roll up back to the Ethereum mainnet. And back to this, over here we have seen like so over here, like we have seen like many different solutions to solve the problem of the shared security of the sharded network. For example, like on Ethereum ecosystem, we also like have a few solutions like agent layer. So agent layer is a restacking solution. Like instead of for like someone like who want to build the option solutions for um for someone like who want to build, we call it an active validation service uh, in the context of agent layer, which is like a Keeper network or like Oracle network or like bridging. Then you also need to build a set of validator, and then by that way, like it's not effective because like it's related to many other problems that you have to think about when you build a validator network. Like building a whole validator network to like to validate your transaction, to produce and validate your transaction is very complex, and it's not an easy thing that we can do in a day or two. um and so restacking is basically like for the native Ethereum stacker, they can restack the token to agent layer into the AVS, or we can call it like active valid data service that I already mentioned before. And in that way, like the same amount of stake token in Ethereum can be shared and aggregated across the AVS, and in that way it's become more secure for the AVS instead of have to being to build a whole validator network. But like agent layers is not a shared security because um it still cannot solve the problem of like a sharded network can have their own block productions or and block finality. And so yeah, and on the other things, like scalability and shared security rich at the same time is extremely hard, which I already said. And we see this in the modular data availability layer like Celestiums. And Celestiums is yeah, and if you want to learn more about it, you can just read about the Celestium solution. And I'm gonna share um a blog from Vitalik about like scaling Ethereum and also like the security stuff, which also like mentioned about restacking and all kind of other solution resolving around the shared security. And okay, so back to Polkadot, that I already mentioned that like the designs the design of Polkadot already include the native share security as the core component of the network. So share security and scalability is in the core design Polkadot protocol. So with the concept of relay change, so you don't have to understand what is relay change. Just imagine that a whole Polkadot network that have like a relay chain in the middle, and then like parachain resolving around. And this relay chain is basically handle on kind of security. And parachain don't have to know about that. So parachain only you have to plug and play. And what you're gonna use Polkadot SDK for is to build a pair change, not a relay chain. That's what's mean that what is mean like share security. And another thing is like right now, I think like some of you guys might have like a stereotype that like building a pair chain is really hard and expensive, but it's already wrong. Because like right now, like if you want to launch something um as a pair change, it's quite easy because like they already have something called like a core, and a core have marketplace. So just 3 hours that you can already buy a core to the core time marketplace, and then like launch your purchase uh on your core. Yeah. So okay, now we go directly to the topic that we talk about today, which is like why do we need Polkadot SDK? So building a blockchain from scratch is quite slow. Like it takes a lot of time and effort to build a blockchain from scratch. But building a parachain with Polkadot SDK is extremely fast. And and um like why we want to build our own blockchain, and we have to care about own kind of things like consensus. We design like what kind of consensus are we gonna use. If it use proof of work, there's already have some problem with the proof of work that Bitcoin face. And if you use like normal proof stack, they also like have some problem of the proof stack. And even though like building the consensus protocol take a lot of time, it's not like easy. And then on the other hand, like you also like have to design an incentive model, like so like you can encourage the validator node to participate in your network, and then like participate in like block productions and and block finalization. So building a blockchain is really hard. It's not easy. You have to also like have to think about like peer-to-peer networking kind of things. And Polkadot SDK already abstract away like all kind of things for you. Like you only like have to understand like what is the concept of parachain, how to deploy a parachain, and all the other things that is already abstract away by the Polkadot SDK. And how is it abstract away? So both the Polkadot SDK component gonna have like 4 different components. I think the XDM here is not like in Polkadot SDK, but I also like want to include it in the slide. Okay, so first it's about Substrate, and we already know that like Substrate is a blockchain framework, a blockchain builder tool that you can easily like build a blockchain network without having to care about like network peer-to-peer networking. What else? Um, yeah, you also like you don't have to care about like peer-to-peer networking, how to design a good runtime kind of things, and it's a great tool. Yeah, and on the other hand, you also have Frame, which sit on top of Substrate, which help you have a set of libraries that help you to build like consensus, block altering, block productions easily. And on the other hand, you have like Cumulus as also like a core part of the Polkadot SDK to turn the Substrate based change into a parachain of the Polkadot network. You need Cumulus, and Cumulus transform Frame-based runtime into like Polkadot compatible parachain runtimes, and Substrate-based node into Polkadot parachain compatible node. So what is Substrate? So Substrate is the base blockchain framework used to power the Polkadot SDK. This is a full toolkit to create sovereign blockchain, including but not limited to those who connect to Polkadot as parachain. Some core component of Subtree is like libp2p. So libp2p already create a networking layer that you don't have to care about peer-to-peer network. So like if you have like two Subtree node, just learn it like on different region of the world. For example, like you launch a Subtree node in America, and I launch a Subtree node in Asia. The networking layer already handle the process of how to surpass the firewall, how to handshaking with your P2P node, and then like how to find and like how to connect to your P2P node. Yeah. On the other hand, like it's also like have a platform agnostic language executor, which is a WebAssembly, and then WebAssembly sit on top of Substrate. So like you can compile the Substrate node, and everyone can run can run your blockchain node easily because of WAMPs. So we don't want to talk much about like WAMPs in this presentation, but yeah. So for blockchain, that when you design a blockchain network, you want like okay, so everyone around the world can become a validator node, and to become a validator node, they have to install a specific software on the internet, which is like a binary release of your Substrate node, and then they run it on the local, and so that they can participate in the global network of the blockchain. And in that way, you need the runtime, and you need your node to be compiled, to some kind of language, which is like platform agnostic. That means like it doesn't depend on any kind of platform. Doesn't matter that you run on Mac OS, or doesn't matter you run on Windows. It can still run normally, and it can find all the peer easily. On the other hand, the substrate also like provide a consensus layer and database layer, which are quite deep, and I don't want to talk about this in this presentation. On the other hand, like this is the overview of the substrate client. So substrate client have like P2P networking, RPC that help all the developer can query data or can submit data to your blockchain node to the RPC. You have like WebAssembly runtime and storage, consensus, telemetry service, so that you can monitor your node easily. To I think like right now Substrate use Prometheus to monitor that. Okay, so building with Substrate. So Substrate like have two core components, which is node and runtime. So building with Substrate, you have to run a node. You have to compile a runtime and then run a node using that runtime. We also like have frame. We haven't reached our frame slide yet, but just imagine like frame is a set of library that can power up your substrate node, as frame is optional for substrate based change, and you don't. That means like you don't need frame to have a block. You don't need frame to have a substrate based block change. Um, okay, so what is frame? So frame development environment provides modules called pallet and support libraries that you can use, modify, and extend to build a runtime to suit the needs of your blockchain. Um, um, yeah, like React, like I already talked about this, like reusable modules. For example, like if you want to build, let me skip it. Okay, so let's play Lego a bit. So like, if you want to build a custom blockchain and you have like a subtree, then to build like an EVM like compatible blockchain, you just have substrate and then you plug your like pallet AVM, pallet Ethereum, pallet dynamic fee into your substrate, and then you have an AVM compatible blockchain. So like substrate easy to configure, and then like you just plug in the pallet in the frame system into your substrate node, and then you have near the AVM compatible blockchain node. Rule of stack as well. So when you have a set of Lego piece like pallet stacking, pallet section, pallet advances, and pallet alternative plug into your substrate, and you have a proof of stack blockchain. Now we go back. Okay, so we talk I mentioned that like substrate doesn't need frame, and frameless substrate is possible. Substrate already provides like a complete element for building a blockchain from scratch, but substrate only has a set of tools for building blockchain system. So substrate has like cryptography, hashing, networking, non-standard data structure, but it doesn't have like consensus, finality, access management, governance. So a frameless substrate code base is like a tremendous Lego piece, and then like it's not clean. Like you can get up to like 1,000 line of code just for a basic function, and then like it's not reusable. For example, like if you want all the blockchain system to reuse some kind of component in your code, then you have to build on your own, and it's not a very ideal design. So frame-based runtime with a substrate is possible as well. So Frame provide a set of library for developer to magically turn the runtime into a complete blockchain runtime. Using substrate, that means that you don't need like the library from like cryptography. You want to build your own runtime, you want to build your own node, and then you can just use Frame into your substrate, into like your own custom runtime, your own custom node, to turn it to tune it on your own. So like this kind of like this level of configuration is crazy, and you can see like the Polkadot team, they already build these kind of tool like separately, and it doesn't depend on each other. But like, if those can be used together, it can become a masterpiece. For example, a subtree with a frame is just a $1 Lego house, but like if used with frame, then you have like a $100 million Lego house. And why don't we want that, right? So let's play Lego, and then I think we already talked about that. And then Cumulus. So Cumulus transformed the frame-based runtime into Polkadot compatible parachain runtime, and substrate-based node into Polkadot parachain compatible node. So we talk about our Lego house, which is FVM compatible blockchain and proof stack blockchain. So after the configuration, then we already have like two blockchain node sit separately. Let's say like I have a FVM compatible blockchain sit separately. and it's not like a part of Polkadot protocol yet. It's just, a solo change, like a chain that's standing alone. So what if I want this AVM compatible blockchain to become a part change or it's become a part of Polkadot? So you have a Cumulus. So Cumulus like is provide also it's just basically provide a set of library for node and library for runtime that can help. For example, in the node library, it have like some type logic for P2P networking that like your node, your parachain node can be discovered by other by can be discovered by the relation validator or like in the runtime library also have some type logic like HCM in the Cumulus that help to like spread out the message between one parent node to the other parent node. Yeah, so I have this meme right here. So let's imagine like you have like substrate based blockchain and then like you use Cumulus, then it's gonna become a parent. So I think like if everyone like here like who like Pepe, then you're gonna like this. Okay, so let's get started a bit with the Polkadot SDK. And if you have like any question about like on kind of information that I already talked, so just message in the chat channel so I can take a look. Okay, so to get started with the Polkadot SDK, we have the Polkadot SDK doc right here. I think this one is new and like the parody team just get started like working on it. So it's just zero version like 0.01, and but like, it include many like useful information for anyone to get started. And here's the link. Okay, so how to get started with this doc? So you can see like here's the diagram of the doc, and then like, we include like Polkadot SDK reference doc and guides. We want to focus on the Polkadot SDK first. So Polkadot SDK we have substrate, frame, Cumulus, Polkadot node, XCM. We don't want to care about Polkadot node and XCM right here, but just care about the substrate, frame, Cumulus. Okay, so now we visit Polkadot SDK. And if you go to Polkadot SDK, then you're gonna see the subtree, frame, Cumulus, XCM, Polkadot. Then we would just want to learn things like step by step. Then we want to learn about the core part first, which is the substrate. We go to substrate, and it's already provide like a very detailed explanations about this tool and on how can you use it, the philosophy, the design philosophy behind the tool. So just follow it. I don't want to talk it about the detail bit. So here. And then you also like have set of tutorial that you can click on and use. For example, like here like it's introduced a bit about like the consensus library using like Babe Aura Renper kind of things, and also like have like RPC API. Yeah. Hey guys, like if you choose the channel, please mute yourself. So this is the link to the substrate, and you just visit it. Okay, so that's how we read the SDK doc one by one, and frame is also quite detailed, and we cannot talk all of it in today's presentation. But I think like the material is amazing, and just follow it, and then like find how can you follow the tutorial and add it to your old blockchain runtime or your old blockchain node. And we go back, and then like yeah. Also, like I really like this guide. So the guides like they have like guide your first palette, your first runtime. So if you click on your first palette, I think this involve like how to write your first palette for like for your blockchain runtime. And so this involve like the setup tool, for example, like frame and also like substrate. So just follow it. So that's how the doc work. And but that's it's not like what I want to talk about today. And I want to talk about like the visit the Polkadot SDK repository because I think it's quite important. Let me get So learning about Polkadot SDK and Substrate, you have to learn about it. You have to, be accustomed to how to work with like open source repository. And for myself, like I always have like the Polkadot SDK like open along, like whenever like I code in Substrate, so that like I can visit the Polkadot SDK and then like see how they use the Polkadot SDK to write all kind of like runtime palette. And we go on to to discover a bit like what they have in their open source repository. So you can look at the SDK, this link. So in the source code of the Polkadot SDK, like, we have many repos. Like for a new, I think like for a newcomers, you might be like a bit overwhelmed because like you have to too many information here that you have to consume. But we only try to pick some that we gonna want to focus on. Um, and I want to go through a bit like what the folder mean. So like we have bridges. It's obvious that like bridges basically like contain the source code, the code base for like all kind of bridge on the Polkadot. For example, you have Snow Bridge, which is like the bridge between like Ethereum and Polkadot, and just ignore that right now. But it's basically about the bridge. Cumulus, a set of tool that you're gonna use for like parachain development, and as I say, like Substrate and Frame standing along with our Cumulus can be used. It's just to build a separate a standalone solo change without like being a part of the Polkadot protocol. So Cumulus like they have some kind of tool like XCMs for cross-chain messaging, ZimBNet for like simulations of the parachain network, and we have like some Polkadot parachain here. I don't remember like what kind of things it is have. I think like yeah, it's have like a set hoop. Um, yeah, I have like a set hoop rococo kind of things. Yeah. Anyway, just ignore that. And parachain palette for the parachain system. And yeah, but that's one is quite advanced. And so Substrate. So Substrate is the most common folder that you're gonna visit for most of like for everyone who just chose Polkadot and you don't want to deploy a parachain yet, just focus on the substrate folder. So the substrate folder we have like frame, and then we already talked like okay, so frame they provide a set tool that you can use to integrate like consensus stacking, any kind of logic like block ordering into your blockchain runtime. And so like frame, if you visit the frame that you're gonna find like this weird name, like if you're new to here, like you don't know like what this name mean, like what is democracy, what is alliance, what balances. So but this is basically like a palette. So like if you start like now we go back to the Polkadot SDK doc. I like I have like a backlist. Let me find something more friendly. Okay, so multi-sig, if you start like palette multi-sig. So the palette multisig, this is the grid, and if you click on it, it have it's just basically a palette, and this is like an overall architecture of a palette in Frame. And this multisig folder here is basically a palette. It contains like all type logic of the palette multisig. And yeah, the README like it tell a lot about it, like multisig module. I don't know like why they don't name like palette multisig, but they have to just name multisig. But I think like I think like this is some kind of legacy system, and they already like, built it for 10 years. So before like we don't have some a concept called like palette. And but yeah, just accept that. So like we have like palette multisig, palette membership, palette message queue kind of things. But now like we'll focus on like palette multisig. So what this palette multisig means? So the palette multisig is basically like contain the functionality for multi-signature dispatch, a potential stateful operation allowing multiple side. Anyway, ignore that. Ba, ba, ba. Okay, so basically, like it's define some kind of logic for the runtime. Like you have a set of member who join your multisig, and then you have a threshold. So like if you when you reach when the transaction reach a set of threshold defined in the palette, then the palette can be executed. Quite simple, right? On the other hand, they also have palette nick, as I remember. That was the most simplest thing. And yeah, I didn't think they have it here. Um, yeah, I'm gonna try to find another simple things. Palette timestamp, is it simple? Yeah, like yeah, so this palette timestamp is basically like provide a timestamp logic to your runtime. So like as a because blockchain is a very low level computer system, so the concept of time is quite hard to synchronize across like a whole blockchain network, a whole set like across like a whole like peer-to-peer node over the world. So you have like this specific palette timestamp to define the runtime logic, and they already do all the kind of magic under the hood, to like help your like runtime to receive the functionality of calculate the current timestamp, the current time of your blockchain. Palette tip, I really like it because to receive the tip for contribution on Polkadot SDK, you have to get to the palette tip, and we're also like gonna talk about like how like what kind of like things and Polkadot SDK contribution later. But yeah, the palette tip is basically like if you have an account on Polkadot and you want the treasury to tip at least like an amount to that account, then you also like the runtime has to go through the logic of palette tip. And as you see, like it's have like how I don't know, it have the hundred of module right here, and this kind of module, like each of them, like provide a different set of functionality to the runtime. And on the runtime side, you only have to configure. So how you configure it? So I will try to go here. For example, like we go to the runtime of protocol, and then like uh you don't have to care about the code right now. But for example, like you have the palette scheduler, and like on the runtime side, you are just define like this is the palette scheduler, the scheduler runtime that provide like the scheduling functionality. Like if you want like this transaction will be executed in the next hour, you're gonna have to use the palette scheduler to provide that logic into your runtime. And then the palette scheduler, you define the config and you configure for your runtime, and then you just provide a bunch of like parameter into the palette, and then it's gonna work quite easy, right? Even though like there's many other kinds of nuances that you have to do for the palette to work correctly on your runtime side. But in fact, like in production, it's just this basically like how the palette will be configured into your runtime. And that yeah, and I think like yeah, you really learn about substrate and frame, and that's how like um that's how it's like the palette can be integrated into the runtime side. What else? Let me see. Substrate. And on the substrate side, we also have another thing called node. Node is also like an important part of substrate. But like most of the time as a palette developer, or I can say like as a runtime engineer, you don't have to care about the runtime yet. um, I mean, like you don't have to care about the node yet. So the node is basically like handle the kind of logic, like mainly peer-to-peer networking, how the node can find all the node, and then how can it's let the runtime execute some kind of operation that someone send to the RPC. Yeah. So in the subtree, you're gonna want to go to visit subtree node template. This is gonna be um, a template repository that most of the substrate developer have to visit. And if they want to bootstrap a brand new substrate project, so in the substrate template, when so I want to go to the code base a bit. So in the substrate node template, what do we have? What Okay, so in the substrate template, we also have a runtime. Amazing. So like exactly like what we saw before. Like we have the runtime, and what in here runtime, like do we have the palette configuration? Okay, so like we have like palette over. I have to care about that. Like frame system. So frame system basically like the very low, like the standard configuration that every substrate node must have. The frame system gonna declare some kind of configuration for the type block weight, block length, account ID. You see like all these kind of type like you have like in the most blockchain system must have these kind of things. Yeah, like address and block kind of things. And you have like ORM pair for consensus configuration here, like timestamp that we just talk 5 minutes ago. Balances. This pallet balances is basically like provide the ability, to have the token for the runtime. So if like you want to create another blockchain, another Ethereum blockchain, and have your own like add token, ETH token, you just declare the pallet balances. And you have to declare some kind of type parameters for the runtime, and you have the token on your own. Yeah. So if you want to be rich, to have like 1 billion token of your own or something, just launch a new blockchain and then like declare a token. Transaction payment handle the logic for like paying to the transaction, I guess. And sudo like handle the logic of the super user. Um yeah, like the admin of your blockchain. Yeah, kind of things. And this is the palette template. Palette template, this just a skeleton code, but in the palette template, you have the overview of the whole of how the palette would look like. So our purpose here is that we don't want to try to care about all the things that they have in the palette, but like we just focus on something like in the palette we have like the trade config. So in this config it's basically like declare the type parameter for the palette, and then like if you when you plug your palette into the runtime, you want like the runtime to declare to configure on this type parameter declare right here in our trade config before like the runtime can be iterated successfully. Yeah. And on the other hand, we have event error. Just ignore that. But yeah, like we also have another thing called dispatchable function. This one is like the main logic of the palette. For example, in the palette tips, in the palette tip, I say that like we have the logic to like tipping someone, right? We go back to Polkadot SDK. We go to like palette tip. So whenever you want to learn about any cap logic, for example, like tipping someone or stacking, just visit that specific palette. That's how that's how you discover something on the Polkadot SDK. Let's say like stacking. Now we go to stacking, and let's say I want to learn about like how the Polkadot handle the stacking logic. And we go to the stack function. Does have a stack function. Let's say dispatch function. Boom. Oh, I think it's not here. It must be here. Yeah. So like you have like force and stack, and this one must be I think it must be from the super user or something. But yeah, they have like unstack. What else? Stack, stack. Where stack? Like the super user can also like increase the how many number of validator you have for your blockchain network, set the number of validator, and then like set the let's see. Where the stack function nominate, yeah, uh, unbond. I think like this is for the validator to unbonding from the network and bond. Yeah, this method is basically a stack from the validator level. So as a validator, when you join a network, you want like to stack something to register as a validator of the whole network, and this is how the bond work. And yeah, I think like that's the overall blockchain network. And I think like you guys can discover a bit on your own until we have a later a later deeper section talking about this. But now we go back. Oh, let me see. Where is it? Um, where's my slide? Sorry, guys. Let me find where my slide. Hmm, it's weird. Okay, here. Okay, so I think like that's the overview of the Polkadot SDK. Hope that you get it. Now we also have other few slides. So about like contributing to Polkadot SDK in Frame. And for anyone who already experienced Polkadot SDK and you want to learn more about it, I think the best way to do that is to get to like contributing to the open source repo. So open source repo here doesn't mean that only the Polkadot SDK, the one I show you, but they also like have a few other a few other open source repositories that like as an open source contributor, you want, to, expose to that to learn more about it because like they have a very good like mentoring system and also like a good tip for like all kind of developer who try to contribute to the project. So I think this I sent a video here from Strauss, a very good engineer from the Polkadot, and I think that you should watch it if you have time. So next, contributing to Polkadot SDK in Frame from my personal experience. So I think that after the past few months, I also like contribute a bit to the ecosystem, and we have like a few commit here that I made to the Polkadot SDK repository. So when you want to to contribute to the Polkadot SDK, you visit the issue list and then you find the label. For the beginner, you should find a D0 easy. And then for D0 easy, you have a set of things like just a lot of things for like someone who have an experience, you who don't have the experience with Polkadot, you might find it's weird. But then just try to read it carefully and then like discover the repo like I showed you before. I show you that like go to each palette, try to understand, not like try to understand all of them, but like just find some example that you're interested in, find those, expose to it, and then when you get okay, so this is how the flow of how the runtime communicate with the palette, communicate with the node, then just look at but like anyway, like when you contribute you must be accustomed to like the Rust programming language, that a requirement, so I don't mention that, but yeah, you must be experienced with Rust. And now we go back to the issue list. So you gonna try to traverse the issue, find something that you interested in. For example, like when I begin contributing, this is my first issue. Remove deprecated code from the accessory palette. Okay, so from my point of view, I already know what is a palette, right? So a palette is basically a module that is integrated into the runtime, and accessory. And I'm familiar with the concept of treasury. A treasury is just basically a bank that store the money. That's all. So like remove deprecated calls from the treasury palette. It's just basically like, so the treasury palette, they have some set of function or type parameter that is already deprecated, and we want to remove those. Now visit that, and then like the maintainer, they also describe it quite in detail. Just read it and then like look at the code as well. So let's say like we go back to the Polkadot SDK. Anyway, let's go to the Polkadot SDK doc. So then we go to the doc, right? And we select palette, treasury, which is like a module that handle the logic for the treasury. We go to it, we find okay, so this is the description of the treasury. So what does the treasury work? Treasury provide a pot of fund that can be managed by a stakeholder in the system and a structure for making spending proposal from this pot. And we go to the scope base. So you might find like, okay, so there's a lot of things here, but we don't care on most of them. So in the issues, we have like propose. So he said that okay, so these kind of dispatchable functions should be removed, like robust span, reject proposal, approve proposal, which you specify if they have like robust span here. They don't have because like I already like finished that like contribution, and so they just update it, and then there's no um deprecated function there. But we're gonna try to traverse back. Now let sorry. Go to palette accessory and then doc approach can visit the version. Let's visit some kind of version like 27, I guess. And we go to the code base. We have like approve span. Does it have here? Yeah, approve proposal. Yeah. So like they still have approve proposal here, but like in the latest updated already removed. So what the issue wants us to do is just, basically this kind of function. Quite easy, right? Yeah, just remove the function. But the thing is like when you contribute, there's more things that you have to consider against from just remove the functionality. So as you see here, the commit is a bit huge, but we're gonna try to discover it a bit. So like when you remove the function, well, you also have to update the benchmarking and also the test, and that how it's work. Like you also have to remove all kind of things that are relevant to the palette because the palette is the core of the system, and you want like it can be updated like all the whole system, the whole big like monolith repo of the Polkadot SDK gonna be updated. So yeah. Also, there's also like other few commit that you guys also like try to reference from what I did, and I think that's a very cool best practice for anyone like who wants to learn more about Polkadot. And we continue. Get back to the slide. Alright, so contribution not like, it's not free. Like you can also receive something from contributing to Polkadot SDK. For example, like I have like one of the peer, and then like I got a tip from the maintainer when they issue a tip on the treasury on the platform. It's called OpenGuild, the for the governance platform of the Polkadot. You're gonna receive like okay the tip proposal, and you're gonna receive the approval. If you're gonna receive the tip, if there's like enough approval from the Polkadot token holder, and here like I'm ready to receive the token. Yeah, quite cool. Yeah, but there's a one note for anyone like who want to contribute to Polkadot SDK. They like never ask for tip on your peer. So the maintainer of the repository are aware of the tip system, and they will give you a tip if they see the contribution worth a treasury tip. So don't ask them like to give you a tip if they don't see that it's worth it, then they don't give it. So if you want to discuss more about the GitHub issues, get more information before you should start coding, start contributing to SDK, you can go to like the technical fellowship chat room on Element Matrix. I don't have the link, but like you can find it somewhere on the internet. I don't know. I'm gonna send it to OpenGuild Discord later today, and you also have Polkadot forum, which is a very good forum to learn more about tech and also to discuss more about some kind of like PR RFC. And yeah, I think like that's all for the today community call. And I hope like you guys like get the idea of what is Polkadot SDK, the core component of Polkadot SDK, and also like how to contribute to it, how to discuss about it, and how to discover the Polkadot SDK repository on your own. On the other thing, like for anyone like, who wants dive deeper into like the Polkadot ecosystem, from the OpenGuild team, they will also like have the initiative. I don't know, like, but it is just a sneak peek. I haven't discussed with the team yet, but yeah. So like we have a thing called a technical contributor, and basically the technical contributor, I'm gonna send it right here for anyone who interested in it. But the technical contributor is just basically like a group of people that like um the group of people that we gather together to contribute to the open source repository in the Polkadot ecosystem, because you are not only the want to write like technical posts or like host an event or kind of thing. You want to build a real things, or like you want to level up your technical experience, right? And we have like, a technical contributor kind of thing. It's same like the level system, the like the membership system of OpenGuild, like low level or elder. Because like, if you want to be a part of the OG like technical contributor, you have to be a low leveler or an elder as well. So you can receive the full benefit of the low leveler and the elder, but you also like get an extra benefit from the ecosystem, like a technical mentor expert from the parity and Pargen teams, open source contribution guidance, and grants and bounty submission support if you have any idea for your personal project that you want to launch on Polkadot. And we have many kind of activities that I cannot list out all of them. I think like I wrote here like list of technical activity. So if you visit the list of technical activity, it's lagging. Anyway, like talking more about the technical contributor, um, like um, because it really require low level and elder, so you must like show your commitment to the community already. Like you must like upload something on the root work to claim the XP to climb up on the to the low leveler and elder rank. and and like when you join the OG the technical contributor, we also like have like some kind of set like commitment they want you guys to do, like you're gonna join the weekly call and then you be active in our we active in the contributor channel, and then like you also like discuss more about like the peer about the issue that all the people interested about. So in the channel, so like most of us we share the resources and also like share what kind of issue that we interested in, and then how can our technical contributor can help to contribute into that issue. That's how the open source organization work. Like we work to the open source repository. And not only that, we have not only the Polkadot SDK, the technical contributor want to focus on like a diverse set of different repository over the ecosystem, like Polkadot SDK, the Polkadot Fellowship, the runtime Polkadot, and also like some kind of other like ecosystem template, like Polkadot generic runtime template from Open Zeppelin, which is like a quite big organization, and they have like this repo here, and then we want to contribute to that to help like to make the Polkadot ecosystem better, and also like Pop CUI kind of things. On the other hand, we also like want to make like software under the brand name of OpenGuild Labs. And for example, like there's only like one software that I made before to simplify the process of like RPC core in the Polkadot, which is called like Polkadot RS. And then like with this, like you can easily like request something using Rust to the node, like connect like using client or like RPC core easily from the Rust side. We have like many rates on the we have like many rate library on the JavaScript side already, but I think like on the on the Rust side we don't have that many. So yeah, and on the other hand, like we also have substrate kitties, for example, just an example. This is a tutorial made by our community as well, and this basically like break down like everything that you need to know about like how to construct your own like substrate your own substrate NFT blockchain, and we're gonna have like a detailed workshop, offline workshop. I think like later next week, talk about this substrate KD as well. So yeah, that's some example that like how the OpenGuild technical contributor gonna work on the workshop documentation tutorial. We work on like open source repository kind of things, and I promise that like the benefit of technical contributor will be not only in like experience point, but also in monetary value. So yeah, and like if you're interested in like contributing, being a part of the technical contributor, just visit our repo here, and then like submit your application. But like you must be like low level or elder to be a part of it. So yeah, but if you're not, you need like some kind of nomination from the elder to be a part of the technical contributor. And yeah, so that's all. I think that this one is quite new, and then just make a sneak peek like announcement on it. Right. So yeah, that's it. And if you guys have any questions, so just ping me in the chat channel. And I think that that's all for our community call today. And yeah, someone's typing. Okay, yeah. All right, so yeah, thank you everyone, and great to be back, and hope you like it, and hope like this presentation helpful to like all the Polkadot enthusiasts in the community, and see you guys in the next 2 weeks. Yeah.